The name Batok comes from the word which means to tap and to hit. So it's the process and the act of hitting.
So across the Philippines, there are varieties or wide practices of tattoo. We were colonized by Spain, but there's already a concept of imprinting in our skin even before they came. The warriors, the kings, used to have their tattoos as a symbol of their status.
In fact, their tattoos were so prominent that when the Spanish first arrived to the islands in the late 16th century, they referred to the indigenous people as Los Pintados, or the Painted Ones. Traditional practices and customs varied across the islands, with the Batok designs from the tribes of Luzon distinct from those of other regions like Mindanao or the Visayas. But despite the long history of tattooing, colonial influences eventually saw the practice outlawed, and in some tribes, the art was lost altogether.
Although the Spanish and later the Americans civilized most of the Philippines with Western customs, isolated pockets of the past survived. The Bontoc Igorots, for example, survived the tidal wave of Roman Catholicism that rolled over most Filipinos. The mountains insulated them against outside influences that could seriously challenge their traditional way of life.
In the north of the Philippines, ethnic groups like the Bontoc, Ifugao, Ibaloy, and the Kalinga carried on the ancient traditions, with master tattooists passing on their knowledge. Today, the most renowned of them is Whang Od, usually referred to as Apo, a term of respect.
Apo Whang Od is probably the last of the tattooists from her tribe. She has brought this art to the mainstream, to the global audience, and at the same time promoted our culture.
Apo Whang Od, said to be 107 years old, learned the skill from her father, and for decades, she was believed to be the last of the Mamba Batoks from her Kalinga tribe. She's since trained her grandnieces, who will continue her legacy. Now, thanks to her work, and with the help of social media, Batok has steadily gained international recognition, and it's become a new way for Filipinos to reclaim their cultural heritage.
It's not just a simple tattoo in our skin. It's actually more than that. It is an attachment to our own heritage as part of our culture and history.
And these roots are shared across Asia and the Pacific, from the seafaring Austronesian ancestors whose cultural influence spread across Micronesia, Polynesia, and Southeast Asia.
A lot of Filipino tattooists and Islander tattooists share a common knowledge and bond through the culture. Our common ancestors that we shared traveled through the Polynesian islands thousands of years ago, and I believe that's part of the reason why a lot of the patterns and motives cross over and they relate. They even look at, it's quite similar the way it's done. One of my passions apart from tattooing is Filipino Anis, and I feel that the mindset, the rhythm, like the tapping, when you're practicing with the sticks, blocking, when it comes to martial arts and tattooing, they're very much like one.
The feeling of Batok, even the sound itself, the sound is very spiritual.
Though modern needles have replaced the traditional citrus thorn, the modified Batok tools are still mostly made from natural resources.
The bamboo itself, to me, it symbolizes strength and resilience. It's a part of almost all Filipino craft making. We use it in weaving, weapons making, tools, building houses. It's really the heart and core of the art itself. Pretty much grows everywhere. Like Filipinos, we're everywhere.